Yo, good morning. Welcome to Book Club Thursdays. Book Club Thursdays. So we are on our fourth week of going through the book club of the Kybalion. We're reading the Kybalion. And there will be explainers as we go. Today we're going to start out with the divine paradox. I didn't remember that we already went through the all. What the all is, being the substantial reality of all things. But we're going to talk about the divine paradox of the all being that substantial reality of all of us, of all of this being a thought in the mind of the all. And what does that mean? And there's an issue with that. Grand Rising, great days. Now, I am Renz. I own a cigar lounge here in Atlanta, smoking Phoenix. So you'll see a cigar. If you don't have a problem, if you got a problem with that, you should leave. We deconstruct Christianity here. I help people deconstruct from Christianity, as well as provide this information so that my children, if ever something happens to me, my children will have my knowledge and wisdom. I don't know why TikTok is so funny. But anyway, I want to thank everybody for being here. Those who donate to the channel, give to the channel, I greatly appreciate you. It helps build the community. Those who are sharing, thank you very, very much. You share the channel with other people. We continue to find our tribe, those like-minded individuals. We want to keep finding those like-minded individuals, those who can do this with us, grow this with us. Those who donate to the channel financially, I greatly appreciate it. It is not in vain. It is not, I don't ask for it, but I appreciate it when it happens. So, the customary to give people a few minutes to get in here so we can get started on the Kybalion. Have anybody picked up this book and started reading it since we've been doing this for the last 4 weeks? And this is their first time reading, but you went out and you got the book. What up, Gooch? Today is about the Kybalion. We're not, that's a question for later on, but I don't agree with any of the creation stories wholeheartedly. That's just the simple answer. That's the simple answer. Honestly, I don't think anybody actually can know. I don't think anybody can actually know how we got here. There's too much history, and there's so much history that nobody would ever know. It goes so far back. It damn sure ain't none of the creation stories. Now, Anunnaki might be the closest to reality, to a possibility. The Anunnaki story is the closest to any creation story possibility. But today we are in the, what's up, Jeremy? How you doing? Good morning. Teresa, good morning. But we are about to hit this Kybalion. And we are going into, we start now with the divine paradox. The divine paradox. Got to put my reading glasses on for this part, for the reading. And as you know, the divine paradox, it's something that you're going to read inside of it. But it always starts out with one of the quotes from the Kybalion, right? So the divine paradox. The half-wise, recognizing the comparative unreality of the universe, imagine that they may defy its laws. Such are the vain and presumptuous fools, and they are broken against the rocks and torn asunder by the elements by reason of their folly. The truly wise, knowing the nature of the universe, uses laws against laws, the higher against the lower, and by the art of alchemy transmute that which is undesirable into that which is worthy, and thus triumphant. Mastery consists not in abnormal dreams, visions, or fantastic imagings or living. It is in using the higher forces against the lower, escaping the pains of the lower planes by vibrating on the higher. Transmutation, not presumption, presumptuous denial, is the weapon of the master. That is one of my favorite quotes from the beginnings of within the Kybalion. Many people like to use the things like they'll quote as above, so below. They will quote some other vague thing from the Kybalion. They're playing in the shallows. They're not getting into the deeps, the depths. They're not understanding that how this is telling me that from the lower, you must use the higher laws against the lower laws. And then to understand that you have to know what the laws are and how they function and how you use them. But most people don't want to go that deep. We was talking here in the cigar lounge last night about how most people are too lazy to do what is necessary to become great in anything that they do. And even those who are talking about transmutation and manifesting are generally too lazy to go and do what is necessary to actually manifest something. Let me ask y'all a question. This is something that we said last night. When you have people around you, a partner, business partner, friends, family, and if y'all want to manifest something, y'all want to create something, you want to do a business or whatever it is, get a house, get a car, whatever it is. I don't know why TikTok keep appearing and reappearing. But whatever you want to do, most of the time, I was telling them last night that if there's anybody in your vicinity that's in your circle that has doubt about what you want to accomplish, you should get rid of them. Most people wouldn't want to do the work that it takes to get rid of somebody that is a stagnation and inhibitor to what you want to accomplish. Like, if I say that I want to open a business that costs $20 million and I got somebody around me who's doubtful, you can't be a part of my process. I'll kick you to the curb in a heartbeat. I'll stop talking to you about it. You won't have an opportunity to be part of anything. You could be my brother. You could be my mom. You could be my lady. You could be my children. I don't care who you are. If there is something that I'm trying to accomplish and you have any doubt towards what I'm looking to accomplish, and excuse me for saying trying because I don't say try. If I'm accomplishing something and you have doubt, you have to go. Because that is in one sense using the lower laws against the higher laws. I mean, using the higher laws against the lower laws. Operating in a higher dimensional plane than somebody else may be operating in that instance. Because if your vibration is not high enough to do what I'm looking to accomplish, then you need to kick rocks. Too many people are not strong enough to tell the closest people around them to kick rocks when it comes to manifesting or accomplishing something or changing something in your life, right? So that little part just reminded me of the conversation that we had last night. But let us continue with the divine paradox. This is the paradox of the universe, resulting from the principle of polarity, which manifests when the all begins to create. Hearken to the point, for it points the difference between the between half wisdom and wisdom. While to the infinite all, the universe, its laws, its powers, its life, its phenomena are as things witnessed in the state of meditation or dream, meaning that all the laws of the universe are being witnessed by the all in a state of a meditative state or a dream state. Just like when you're in a meditative or dream state, you can create an entire universe, an entire world. Yet to all that is finite, the universe must be treated as real. Just like in your dreams, everything seems so, you wake up from one of the dreams like, it was so real. But everything that's in your dream, to the entities in your dreams, it is real. And life and action and thought must be based thereupon accordingly, although with an ever understanding of the higher truth, each according to his own plane and laws. So within each one there it has its own laws. And you have to work in according to that. So we have to work in according to the fact that in the dream reality, dream meditation of the all, we are existing as real. So we function uh, with those laws, within those laws, and not outside those laws. Were the all to imagine that the universe is indeed reality, then woe to the universe. Uh, Let me read that one again. Where the all to imagine that the universe is indeed real, then woe to the universe. If they all recognize that that this universe is actually real to it, not real to us, but real to it, then this universe would truly get messed up. Because if the all thought that this was real, it would rewind and change a whole bunch of these atrocities. But this is just a dream state, a fictional reality to the all. For there would be no escape from the lower or the higher divineward. Then would the universe become a fixity and progress would become impossible. And if man, owing to the half wisdom, acts and lives and thinks the universe is merely a dream, akin to his own finite dream, then indeed does this so become for him, and like the sleepwalker stumbles ever around and around in a circle, making no progress and being forced into the awakening of at last by the falling, bruising, and bleeding over of the natural laws which he ignores. So basically, where was I? This part here. Then would the universe become a fixity and the progress would no longer become possible? Because then the all wouldn't be able to escape this reality, nor would we be able to escape this reality. We wouldn't be able to grow, right? If all of this was real to the all, but it is real to us. So with it being real to us, we can use higher laws against lower laws. We can recognize how we can progress and indeed live our lives in such a way that we become greater beings within ourselves and can operate later in higher planes of understanding. Uh, where was I at? Green blazing. Right. Because then if they all operated within our, then the all would be subject. Okay, this is a Jesus thing, right? This is a Jesus thing. If the all operated on our plane of existence, then the all would be susceptible to the laws, and then then the all can be bruised. The all could be, beaten. The all could be crucified. But the all never operates in our physical reality as a physical being because the all is above this universe, above all things that we have to deal with. So it's a virtual impossible. We already talked about how in last week the all can never separate itself or be less than itself. It can never be more than itself. It is just merely itself. It can't be taken away from. So when entities like Jesus say that, why have thou forsaken me? You can't be God and then be forsaken by yourself. It's an impossibility. I believe the green screen, it glitches because I move around. And um, I don't know, angle or something. I don't know. How about that? But anyway, so we have to keep in mind of this that the all can never exist in a bodily form here. Otherwise, the all would recognize this as real. And if the all recognize this as real unto itself, then it will be subject matter to all the bumps, the bruises, the emotions, uh, all the other things that we have to deal with. Right. So it can't be. Actually, I'm just gonna move this TikTok one because it is irritating me and it's flickering. Uh, why is he here, sir? Keep your mind ever on the star. But let your eyes watch over your footstep, lest you fall into the mire by reason of your upward gaze. Remember the divine paradox that while the universe is not, it's still it is. While the universe is not, still it is. Remember that the two poles of the truth, the absolute and the relative. Beware of half truth. So the universe is real, but it's not real. It's real to us, but it's not real to the all, in the mind of the all. Remember the law of polarity. If something is real, then there has to be the extreme. It's on the same pole, but it's on the end of not real. You know. So we talk about reality, material universe, spiritual universe, one far reaching from the other. What the hermeticists know as I'm trying to look up every now and then and make sure you guys aren't asking a question that pertains to what we're talking about. Um, are you a ghost on the screen? Sure. No questions thus far. What the Hermetist knows, what the Hermetists know as the law of paradox, is an aspect of the principle of polarity. The Hermetic writings are filled with references to the appearance of the paradox in the consideration of the problem of life and being. The teachers are constantly warning their students against the error of omitting the other side of any question. I gotta stop right there for a different reason, because this is so meaningful. That statement is so meaningful in every aspect of what you do. The teachers are constantly warning their students against the error of omitting the other side of any question. Anytime we research something, if we're only and if you've been around me for years, then you know that this is a repetitive thing for me. Anytime you're researching something, if you only look at the side that agrees with what you have already predetermined as the answer, then that is the only answer you'll ever get. If you truly want to know or get as close to the truth of something as possible, you have to be able to look at it from all sides. You have to look at it from both sides. Looking at it from one side only gives you one perspective. It's like when you're working with a couple. There's his story, there's her story, and somewhere in between of people making noise in the background, and somewhere in between there is the absolute truth, right? So if you only look at things from one story, from one side, then that's all you got. So like somebody just came up here, Jesus is the way. I guarantee this person has never truly looked at things from the perspective of the other side, but only looked at it from the one side. And when you do that, then you only know that one thing. So then how can you ever know the truth of anything if you come from a one-sided perspective? Hey, Debbie, how you doing? So in every aspect of life, I'll do that. That's too loud. I'll do it. In every aspect of life, it is one. It is finding out the information from all sides before you move into other sides and make your decision. Okay, and continue. And their warnings are particularly directed to the problem of the absolute and the relative, which perplex all students of philosophy and which cause so many to think and to act contrary to what is generally known as common sense. And we caution all students to be sure to grasp the divine paradox of absolute and relative, lest they become entangled in the mire of the half truth, which is the view, which in this view, this particular lesson has been written. Read it carefully. So that just pretty much explains everything that I just said. When you only look at something from your perspective or with a made up mind, because even at that, we can decide, okay, I'm going to read both sides of the story. I'm going to look at both sides of the story, but no matter what, this is the side that I've already really decided on. I'm just looking at the other side so I can see I'm looking for something to argue against it to promote my side. It's like a situation of my brother and his wife gets into an argument. Even though I'm going to listen to both sides of the argument, I've already decided that I'm going to, because this is my brother, I'm going to be on his side. I'm going to listen to what she got to say. But as I'm listening to what she has to say, I'm looking for everything that in what she says that I can combat, that I can go against, that I can have something negative to say. So even when we come across people who say, oh, I've studied other religions, but if you're already saying that I'm Christian or I'm Muslim or I'm Hindu, even when you go study other religions, you're studying that religion to prove that your Christianity or your Islam or your Hinduism is correct. You're not studying it to see if it may be correct because you've already made up your mind as to what you're going to be. That's most of the time. You do have the individual who is out there searching. But if that individual who is out there searching haven't first emptied their cup of all the conditionings that they've previously had, that individual is still not studying those other religions in earnest as far as seeking a truth that works with them. They are still seeking something, but they want to go back to what they're still seeking something, but it's still based on what they had previously been. So for instance, when I first initially was trying to come out of Christianity, when I was in my teens, it was very difficult for me to, when I studied other religions, when I studied science, anything I studied, because everything was still based on Christianity. Even when I got to a point and I said, I am done with Christianity, I still looked at everything from the perspective of comparison to Christianity. I had not emptied my cup yet. I had not said, okay, let me dispense with all aspects of emotional, intellectual, and spiritual connections to Christianity. The emotional part is very important, but let me dispatch with all of that first. Let me empty the cup. After I empty the cup and then look at Islam and Judaism and Hinduism and Buddhism and Taoism and Shinto and some of the ancient religions, it was only then that I can recognize as close to a truth for me that I could find. So if your cup has not been emptied, if you still have moments of, I don't want to go to hell, but yet you spout out that you don't believe in hell, but you have moments of, I don't want to go to hell, or moments of, what if I'm wrong? What if Islam is wrong? What if Islam is right? What if Hinduism is right? What if Christianity is right? If you still have those moments, your cup is not empty yet. You got to empty that cup. You got to release those things. You got to sit in your meditations and release those things. You got to do your journaling. You got to recognize how to lack of a better program, you open your chakras so that you can release your fears, your guilt, your shame, open your heart up for love. Stop telling yourself lies about yourself. Recognize how all things are connected, and then let go of your earthly attachments. You got to be able to go through all of that. You need to go through all of that if you truly want to empty your cup and seek out what works for you and not what works for everybody else. Now, when you talk to people about what they believe or their truth, they never ever study things outside of what they think they know. And most people don't. And that is most people. Ooh. If I was a preacher, I'd be like, that's a message right now. All right, so let's continue. First thought that comes to mind, that comes to the thinking of man after he realizes the truth that the universe is a mental creation of the all, is that the universe and the universe and all that it contains is a mere illusion, an unreality against which idea his instincts revolt, because you can touch and feel everything. But this, like all other great truth, must be considered both from the absolute and the relative points of view. So you know how people say, "Oh, we're all living in a simulation right now. We all took the blue pill or the red pill that keeps you in the matrix, whichever one." They always say we in the matrix. You're in the matrix. This ain't real. This is an illusion. Okay, stand in the street. Let me run your ass over. Let's see if it's real. Let me take all your money every month and let's see if you still live in your house. Let's see if it's real. If we're in a simulation, let me punch you in your face. Let's see if it's a simulation, or is the simulation giving you the effects that I'm punching you in the face? That is the illusion that people think that you're an illusion once they come to this understanding. And I was there once, but continue. From the absolute viewpoint, of course, the universe is in the nature of an illusion, a dream, a phantasmagoria, as compared to the all in itself. Just like your dream is an illusion only to you, but for those within your dream, it is a reality. Is basically what it's about to say. Um, we recognize this even in our ordinary views, for we speak of the world as a fleeting show that comes and goes, is born and dies. For the element of impermanence and change, finiteness and unsustainability must ever be connected with the idea of a created universe when it is contrast with the idea of the all. No matter what may be our benefit, our beliefs concerning the nature of both, philosophers, metaphysicians, scientists, and theologians all agree upon this idea, and the thought is found in all forms of the philosophical thought and religious conceptions, as well as in the theories of the retrospective schools of metaphysics and theology. So all would agree that your thoughts are illusions in your mind. Your thoughts are the illusions in your mind, but that isn't when it's in contrast to you. When we're looking at yourself, just you. But to your dream state, it is all real. And that is a true reality. I was trying to get this thing to act right. It just don't want to act right on TikTok as far as the imagery. But to the all, this is all an illusion. And that's what we're looking to recognize here. Messing some stuff up. So how many of y'all are with me right now? Hey, Coach, love your videos and your spirit of freedom and the truth seeking. I am hereditary high priest of Israel, as well as a order in Christian and I agree that all religions are poison and are, oh my gosh, bro, that's too much to read. Spiritual religion, follow the message. Who else? A proverb I forgot. Got from you. Yeah. Don't necessarily like when people come over here to promote their own channels, Deborah. Appreciate it, Marguerite. Thanks for the stars, Miss Clark. You know, I always think if you can't grow your channel naturally on your own or in agreement with somebody, don't just jump on somebody's stuff and start promoting your stuff. Because I don't. That's not cool, man. Whether you've been following me or not, that's not a cool thing to do. You should ask permission before you start posting um, where your blog is and who you are and all this sort of thing. Don't just come on somebody's thing and just do that. Like, that's rude. That would be like I own a cigar lounge and you come in here and you start promoting that you own a cigar lounge down the street. You wouldn't do that. So why do it on somebody's social media? That's just a pet peeve that I have for myself. You may get mad at me. That's fine. But the true reality of it is rude. You should have asked first before you came up here and posted, a link. to your stuff. That I ain't cool. I'm never gonna be cool with that. That's bad business. That's bad relations. So to continue, everything I said is what you believe. What up, Jeremy? How you doing? All right. So we continue. So the Hermetic teachings do not preach the unsustainability of the universe in any stronger terms than those more familiar to you. Although their presentation of the subject may seem somewhat more startling, anything that has a beginning and an end must be, in a sense, unreal and untrue, and the universe comes under the rule. That one, it threw me off. Anything that has a beginning and an end must be, in a sense, unreal and untrue, and the universe comes under that rule. Because I was like, wait. Now, if it has a beginning and an end, then it's real. Is what I was normally thinking. That's what you would normally think. Then it must be real, right? It has a beginning, has an end, so it had a time, right? But then I started realizing time is not actually real; it's a perspective, and which made me then realize that okay, well, anything in this universe is truly a perspective and not an absolute reality. But let's continue. In all schools of thought, the universe comes under this rule in all schools of thought. From the absolute point of view, there is nothing real except the all. Get that? There's nothing real except the all. No matter what term we may use in thinking of or discussing the subject, whether the universe be created of matter or whether it be a mental creation in the mind of the all, it is unsubstantial, non-enduring, a thing of time, space, and change. We want you to realize this fact thoroughly before you pass judgment on the Hermetic conception of the mental nature of the universe. Think over any and all other concepts and see whether this be not true of them. So, other than the all, nothing is real. Not the simulation theory of we are some aliens have done a computer program and we sitting on some supercomputer on some alien world and none of this is real, but the aliens is real. But if you think about it like that, you do believe that, then then you would still agree that the only thing that is real is the one that created this universe. Like when this is why I like to use dreams because they're easier to relate um, to ourselves today. The When you dream, the only thing that's real, I'm gonna keep talking, but I'm gonna move this thing a little bit. When you're dreaming, the only thing that's real is you. We know that the dream is not real, right? But you are real. And since you are the one that is creating the dream, everything in the dream is unreal except you. If we are a mental creation of the all of this is not real except for the all. The only thing that's real about us is if you remember last week, your return back to the all, your return back to the higher conscious planes of energetic of within the thought of the all. It's disconcerting. It's not something that you want to hear. You want to think that you're real, that you have all control. And you pretty much do have all the control. It's just, you just have to recognize where you are. When you recognize where you are and who you are, then it allows you to become whatever you desire to become within this understanding. I am so bothered by the fact that TikTok keep glitching back and forth because it haven't done it this bad before. Um, where did I lose my place? I did. I lost my place. Well, that's what we're going to do. That's it right there. Okay. So to continue. I don't see any questions or statements yet. All right. Oh no, I was right there. How about that? Reread the same paragraph that we just read. All right. So to continue. But the absolute point of view shows merely one side of the picture. The other side is the relative one. Absolute truth has been defined as things as the mind of God knows them. That's absolute truth. While relative truth is things as the highest reason of man understands them. Right? Now you can see some of these teachings are what you have heard when you was coming up in any of the isms and entities, because man can never know the mind of God. Right? God's ways are not man's ways. Right? That coincides with things as in the mind of God. Absolute truth has been defined as things as the mind of God knows them, while relative truth is things in the highest reason of man understands them. Right. So we can only understand things at a certain level, and that is the relative, whereas the absolute is whatever the mind of the all can understand. God's way is not man's ways. Yeah. It's glitchy because they don't want me to deliver the truth. Well, it's not glitchy like that. It's glitchy in that my image is not staying up there because I got the little portfolio platform in the back. And that little platform in the back is just getting on my nerves. I don't know if I can change it in midstream here, because I'm not as knowledgeable on this thing, this TikTok thing, as I am with the others. I don't want to cancel it. But it would be great if I could get rid of this background thing, and in that way, it just be a regular picture. But I don't know how to do that while doing it, other than starting over. Oh wait a minute, wait. Effects, none. There we go. I just take the effects off. I don't need that background thing because that's gonna drive me crazy. All right, because it's distracting. And when things are distracting, I can't get my stuff right. Can't get it out the way I want to. So hey TikTok, how y'all doing? All right. Um, where are we then? There. So so while to the universe, to the all, the universe must be unreal and illusionary, a mere dream or result of meditation. Nevertheless, to the finite mind forming a part of that universe, the viewing it through the mortal faculties, the universe is very real indeed and must be so considered. In recognizing the absolute view, we must not make the mistake of ignoring or denying the fact and phenomenon of the universe as they present themselves to our mortal faculties. We are not the all, remember. And understand this portion of the book is the divine paradox. So it's showing you like how it's the opposites, but it's really giving you a deeper understanding of the law of polarity, because understanding that law of polarity is going to be vital in order for you to master like the seven hermetic laws. But no matter what religion, whatever, what you're doing in your life, in order to master any aspect of your life, you have to understand polarity. Because if you don't know the pole to which you're working on as far as something or thinking about something or dealing with people, then you will never be successful in accomplishing anything. And not just talking about success as far as money or something like that, but just in something as simple as controlling your weight and your health, something having a good relationship with other people. If we don't understand the pole, we can't do it. Think about it. If the organizations that couldn't get on the same pole as those during the civil rights movements, they were ineffective as far as working together. Only those organizations that got on the same polarity worked well together. You know, you would have thought it would have been more of the Because when I was growing up as a kid here in Atlanta, I thought it was the NAACP, that Martin Luther King was part of the NAACP. I knew that Malcolm was part of the Nation of Islam. And, so I understood how they weren't on the same pole. But I thought that Martin was part of NAACP. It shocked my nervous system when I found out that he was actually part of the SCLCU, that was the main organization. And if other organizations didn't get on the same pole with him, he wouldn't work with him. And you know what gave me that realization is when I was talking to my pappy, and he said that Martin came to him and asked them to join, in the very beginning, to join him because they lived on the same street. And so, of course, grassroots, you start with the people in your immediate vicinity. He told Martin, they sick them dogs at me, I'm killing the dog. And I'm killing everybody. I'm killing the person handling the dog. So they couldn't function on the same pole. So therefore, they couldn't work together. And if we don't understand that, if you're working with somebody and y'all are not on the same pole, if you're doing business with somebody, y'all not on the same pole, you trying to have a relationship, y'all not on the same pole, it's not going to work. You're going to have problems and issues. Black Panthers came from SNIC. I don't know what SNICC is. That supposed to be SCIC? You typing too fast, Deborah? You driving, I bet you. There are 8 heretical principles, hermetic principles. The last one is the generative principle. Everything originates and returns to source. This principle is often omitted. Most of the time, it is omitted. People don't like to think about that. What is this? There will be time when the chosen will wander far from light. Y'all always send the messenger. I don't know about all that. The messengers will be known as militant prophets. You could call me a militant prophet, but I wouldn't be in the vein of Yahweh, though. That's the difference. Uh, yes, I figured you were driving, Deborah, with that typing you was doing. All right. But so even though a lot of these things seem opposite, they are actually one and the same. Understanding the pole is vital to functioning on with every hermetic law, especially when we start getting into the law of correspondence. Because if you don't understand the divine paradox, you're going to have difficulties with law of correspondence. Law of correspondence is actually, some parts of it is boring as hell, but, well, not boring, but it's confusing because it's the plane of A and B, and plane of C, C, D, plane of spiritual mind this, plane of animal mind this, plane of mental and spiritual, and you can get them confused very quickly. So we have to always understand the pole of what we're talking about before we get into understanding the law of correspondence or the law of vibration of any of those things. And remember, we are not the all. So when people say we are gods, I kind of refrain from that because we are not gods in the sense of anything above our consciousness. And I do understand that some people are saying it, that because we have that consciousness, that ability to create in our mind, the ability to reason and to put things together, we are gods to the nth. But there are conscious levels far above us. So then you would say that those conscious levels far above us, those are the gods. And that may very well be how your Greek mythology, Roman mythology, Christian mythology, Arabian mythology, all these mythologies come about because they were interacting with consciousness that was higher than theirs, and they thought that they were gods. To them, they were gods. The aliens were the gods. I know we talked about technologically advanced people being misconstrued as gods yesterday, but there are so many different variations that people come and say that we are gods. But I try to refrain from that oftentimes, just say we are just hot, divinely conscious beings. We are not greater or lower than any other consciousness or conscious being. We merely operate on a different point of the pole than other beings. Some beings are operating at a much higher vibration Some beings are operating at a much lower vibration. They are not gods. They are not gods. We are not gods. It's really that freaking simple to me. To me. But if it makes people feel good to call themselves gods, go right on ahead. To continue, we at least got to get through this chapter before 1 o'clock. Oh, shit. Well, I want to get through this chapter before 12. To take familiar illustrations, we all recognize the fact that matter exists to our senses. Y'all know what your senses are. We are fair. We will fare badly if we do not, and yet even our finite mind understands the scientific dictum that there is no such thing as matter from a scientific point of view. Sorry. That which we call matter is held to merely be an aggregation of atoms, which atoms themselves are merely a group of units of force called electrons and ions, vibrating in a consistent circular motion. We kick a stone and we feel the impact. It seems to be real, notwithstanding that know that it we know it to be merely what we have stated above. But remember that our foot, which feels the impact by means of our brains, is likewise matter, so constituted of electrons, and for that matter, so are our brains, and at the best, and this is what it just says, at the best. I don't speak like that, so that's throwing me off. And at the best, if it were not by reason of our mind, we would not know the foot or the stone at all. Y'all understand that? If it wasn't for the reason of the mind, we wouldn't know the foot or the stone. Matter doesn't necessarily exist. It's merely a bunch of atoms, electrons, neutrons, protons, ions operating in forming molecules that forms different things, but they're all vibrating. Basically, it's getting to the point that we're all just energy. Everything is energy, but it's the coming together of different energy. Yeah. Then again, the idea of the artist or sculptor which he is endeavoring to reproduce in stone or in canvas seem very real to him. So do the characters in the mind of the author or the dramatist which he seeks to express so that others may recognize them. And if this be true in the case of our finite mind, what must be the degree of reality in the mental image created in the mind of the infinite? Oh friends, to mortal, this universe of mentally is very real indeed. Friends, to mortals, this universe is mentally is very real indeed. It's like a play. It is the only one. It is the only one we can ever know, because we can't know any other mental universe. Because if we did, that would put us outside of God, of the all, or what people call God. And if you could be outside of the mental creation of the all, then you are the all. You are greater than the all. And we know that you're not. Though we rise from plane to plane, higher and higher in it, to know it otherwise, but actually experience, we must be the all itself. Yeah, that's what I just said. It is true that the higher we rise in the scale, the nearer to the mind of the Father, it's in quotation marks, the Father, we reach, the more apparent becomes the illusionary nature of finite things. But not until the all finally withdraws us into itself does the vision actually vanish. So the universe will continue until the mindset of the all says, "Oh, that's it. I'm tired of dreaming. I woke up. The alarm clock went off. Whatever it is." But the higher and higher you go in your consciousness, the more you come to realize things. The more you see things, you see the real and the unreal. For instance, like yesterday, we went through this portion of the video where I was saying that, although I recognize the reality that we have to deal with race does not exist. So what's it? Alexander said, "We are not gods. God is us. That's part of the divine reality. But we will explain that as when we get to that part more in detail. So we need not dwell upon the feature of illusion. Rather, let us recognize the real nature of the universe, seek to understand its mental laws, and endeavor to use them to best effect in our upward progress through life. As we travel from plane to plane of being, the laws of the universe are none the less iron laws because of the mental nature. All except the all are bound by them, which is the which is in the infinite mind of the all, is real in a degree second only to that reality itself, which is vast in the nature of the all. So we are going to these next part is going to basically explain the true nature of the universe and how we exist in it and how we can grow from plane to plane to plane. And in that growth, we develop a higher consciousness and better understanding of the mental universe of the all. And we'll continue this process. This is why when people say, do you believe in reincarnation? Yeah, because we will continue this process until the all withdraws all of us back into itself, until we rejoin the all as energetic thoughts. So do not feel insecure or afraid. We are all held firmly in the infinite mind of the all, and there is nothing, well, not to hurt us, for us to fear. There is no power outside of the all to affect us. So we may rest calm and secure. There is a world of comfort in the security in this realization when once attained. Then calm and peaceful do we sleep. Then calm and peaceful do we sleep, rocked in the cradle of the deep, resting safely in the bosom of the ocean of the infinite mind, to which is the all. The all is indeed in the all, indeed, do we live and move and have our being. And because we live and move and have our being in the all, the consciousness of the all, is basically saying nothing outside of the all. Like, let's say I'm the all for the universe that I'm dreaming about, and I don't know, somebody else is the all next to me. They can't affect my mind. They can't affect what's in my mind. So you're safe. It's called the Kybalion. It's called the Kybalion. We're reading through it on Thursday. We read as much as we possibly can before I get customers here at the Cigar Lounge. But it's called the Kybalion. So the only thing that matters to us is the all in itself, and we will continue to rise in it. Continuing, matter is nonetheless matter to us. To us, remember that's the paradox. To us, matter is matter, but in reality, and to the absolute, there is no matter. While we dwell, matter is matter to us while we dwell on the plane of matter, because y'all have heard me say many times in videos, as we exist on this matter plane of existence, right? This matter plane of existence. This is one of the reasons why, because matter only matter to us because we exist in matter. I like that. Matter only matter to us because we exist in matter. Although we know it to be merely an aggregation of electrons or particles of force vibrating rapidly and gyrating around each other in a formation of atoms. The atoms in turn vibrating and gyrating, forming molecules, which later in turn form larger masses of matter. Nor does matter become less matter when we follow the inquiry still farther and learn from the hermetic teachings that the force of which all electrons are but units is merely a manifestation of the mind of the all, and like all else in the universe is purely mental in its nature. While on the plane of matter, we must recognize the phenomenon. We may control matter, as all masters of higher or lower or lesser degrees do, but we do so by applying the higher forces. We commit a folly when we attempt to deny the existence of matter in the relative aspect. We may deny its mastery over us, and rightfully so, but we should not attempt to ignore it in its relative aspect, at least so long as we dwell upon this plane. It's kind of like I was saying. I know that racism. I know that race does not exist, but racism does, because on this matter plane of existence, we grade each other, we treat each other based on our skin tone. Uh, but in truth, there is no such thing as, you know, Caucasian, brown people, black people, Asians. There's no such thing as these. These are all creations that things that we create, right? But we have to recognize that we do live in them. So just like this cigar is really a bunch of protons and neutrons and electrons that has come together to form leaves and then been put together to form a cigar, right? And it's real. But I know that it's actually just protons and electrons. It's just energy. But it's real to me. And then I can add a force to it to change the vibration of the protons, electrons, and neutrons in here. By adding the force of heat, they speed up. And as they speed up, the molecules that form the leaves, those molecules now form into ash and smoke. So they have changed what they are. And I need y'all on TikTok to hit the hell out of that like button, because me having a cigar, they would try to stop this TikTok in a heartbeat. So I need y'all to like the shit out this TikTok one. All right. I need y'all to like this TikTok one so they won't stop it. Oh, y'all talking about something ain't got nothing to do with what we talking about. So we're gonna continue with what we talking about. Yeah, keep smashing that like button on TikTok. We need so they won't cancel it out. They literally on my cigar channel, they shut down my ability to do lives on that one. I think I can start doing lives on that one again today. So it's very important to hit that like button on the TikTok. All right. So to continue, I don't see any questions here. Good. Well, not good. I like questions. Nor do the laws of nature become less constant or effective when we know them. Likewise, to be merely mental creations, there are in full effect on various planes. They are in full effect on various planes. So the laws are, so no matter what plane of existence, this is why, like the Egyptians, the Kemetic people believe that once you cross over into the field of reeds, you live a similar life to the one that you currently live, right? So it's kind of in that hermetic viewpoint, all the laws of the universe will still function no matter what plane of existence you exist on. Even in Christianity, they talk about when you're in heaven, they're going to be the trees that still produce fruit, in heaven. And they got cities and you have a body, and but you're just existing on a higher plane of existence, but the natural laws are still there. Oh no, it's all right. Yeah, it's all right, Gray. Ty, you good? So you gotta recognize that no matter what plane of existence you're on, these laws will still be in effect. All right, wait, and I just lost my place. Oh, but we cannot full on verifying. We overcome the lower laws by applying the still higher laws. So this is why we have to understand polarity and how these laws work. And in this way only, but we cannot escape law and rise above it entirely. Nothing but the all can escape law. And that's because the all is law itself. So nature, the universal laws, is the all, from which all laws emerge. The most advanced masters may acquire the powers usually attributed to the gods of men, and there are countless ranks of beings in the great hierarchy of life. Those beings in power and power transcends even that of the highest masters among men to a degree unthinkable by mortals. But even the highest masters and the highest beings must bow to the law and be as nothing in the eye of the all. So, like I was saying, no matter where you're vibrating on the pole of existence as a conscious being that exists, um, you still never be higher than the all. You still be below the all, and you still function on the with the natural laws. So even if on Earth you saw somebody doing something miraculous, they're still not God. They're still not the all. They're just a being that understands how this universe functions at a higher rate of vibration than you do. So that even in these highest, so even if these highest beings whose power exceed even those attributed by men to be their gods, if even these are bound by and are subservient to the law, then imagine the presumption of mortal man of our race and grade when he dares to consider the laws of nature as unreal, visionary, and illusionary, because he happens to be able to grasp the truth that the laws are mental in nature and simply mental creations of the all. Those laws which the all intends to be governing laws are not to be defiled or argued away. So long as the universe endures, will they endure, for the universe exists by virtue of the laws which form the framework and which holds it together. So when you get those people who are saying that we live in the matrix, and none of this stuff is real, um, they are but fools unto themselves. Uh, True is because they are not understanding the hermetic laws that are at work here. The universe, our matter universe, is not real to the all, to the absolute, but it's real to us. We have to function in it, and there are universal laws that we still have to function. The Matrix actually was explaining that to you, that even the agents are hell, even though they can operate faster and they can do these things that would seem miraculous by just appearing out of nowhere, because that's what, when an agent took over another person's body, it would appear that the agent appeared out of nowhere. Um, when they had vampires and what was it, ghosts and stuff in the other in Matrix 2, these are just beings who understood how the Matrix functioned, and they could operate, at a way that most people couldn't, but they were still controlled by the laws within the matrix. They still couldn't work out. They couldn't work outside of the matrix. They could only conform things while they were inside. This is why the Agent Smith, is actually the one, not Neo, but because he changed the matrix. He had the ability to change the matrix. But they make those changes. But in our reality, you may be able to see somebody who does something miraculous, but even their miracles still conform to the laws of the universe. I was telling the guys in the lounge yesterday that there was this video I was watching where this homeopathic hospital in China, just through chanting and absolute belief that they were in the presence of a healthy woman, these people, her stomach tumor went away as they were recording it. That this other man was using chi energy to set some paper on fire, and then he used some chi energy to heal one of his crew members. Um, if these things are true, they are operating at a higher conscious level, just outside of what the norm. You see, the norm is for people to have doubt, and the norm is people to only do what they think and they've been told and conditioned to do. It is when you do something outside of that that you start to work on a higher plane of existence, and your understanding is greater. And the greater your understanding, the more you'll be able to accomplish in this universe. And once you reach a certain point, you'll go to a different corresponding plane and exist there and not come back to this joint. So let's continue. Because we almost done with this chapter. The Hermetic principle of mentalism, while explaining the true nature of the universe upon the principle that all is mental, does not change the scientific conception of the universe, life, or evolution. In fact, science merely collaborates the Hermetic teachings. The latter merely teaches that the nature of the universe is mental, while modern science has taught that it is material, or of late that it is energy. Ooh, I'm gonna throw some people off right there with that one. Because we know that's what people are saying. Everything is energy. Everything is energy. But it's pretty much still saying the same thing because mental energy is still energy. Saying energy at that last analysis. The Hermetic teachings have no fault to find with Herbert Spencer's basic principle, which postulates the existence of an infinite and eternal energy from which all things proceed. In fact, the Hermetics recognize in Spencer's philosophy the highest outside statement of the workings of the law of nature, of the natural laws that have been propagated. And they believe Spencer to have been a reincarnation of an ancient philosopher who dwelt in ancient Egypt thousands of years ago and who later incarnated as Heraclitus, the Grecian philosopher who lived in 500 BC. And they regard his statement to the infinite and eternal energy as direct line of the Hermetic teachings, always with the addition of their own doctrine that his energy is the energy of the mind of the all. I know that was a lot. But basically, the Hermetics is agreeing with Spencer's idea that everything came from an energetic source, right? And that they were saying that Spencer some have said that Spencer is the reincarnation from an Egyptian scholar, philosopher, who spoke of the similar things, and Heraclitus, who spoke of the Grecian philosopher at 500 BC, who spoke of infinite and eternal energy. And it could be, for all we know. With the master key of the Hermetic philosophy, the student of Spencer will be able to unlock many doors of the inner philosophical conception of the great English philosopher, whose work shows the results of the preparation of his previous incarnation. His teachings regarding evolution and rhythm are in almost perfect agreement with the Hermetic teachings regarding the principle of rhythm. I've never read Spencer's work, so I can't go either way with that as to say if it jives with it. So we'll continue. So the student of Hermetics need not lay aside any of his cherished scientific views regarding the universe. All he is asked to do is to grasp the underlying principle of the all is mind, the universe is mental, held in the mind of the all. He will find that the other six of the seven principles will fit into his scientific knowledge and will serve to bring out obscure points and to throw light in dark corners. This is not to be wondered at when we realize the influence of the Hermetic thought of the early philosophers of Greece upon whose foundations of thought and theories the modern science largely rests. The acceptance of the first Hermetic principle of mentalism is the only great point of difference between modern science and Hermetic students. The science is gradually moving towards the Hermetic position in its grouping in the dark for a way out of the labyrinth into which it has wandered in its search for reality. So basically, other than the concept of an origin, and that's really what it is, the concept of an origin, what a Hermetic person would call the mind of the all, uh, a scientist may call a beginning source of energy, the singularity, the ever expanding and contracting singularity, which still fits in the law of mentalism, except in science, the singularity doesn't have a consciousness. But in Hermeticism, the singularity does have a consciousness. And we discussed that consciousness last week when we talked about the all and what is the all. And later, we're going to get to a part where we talk about why does the all create. Or did we talk about that last week? No, we didn't. I don't think we did. But all the other laws do fit into your scientific mind. You know, the law of the correspondence vibration, all those things, they will fit into your scientific mind. So those are easily acceptable to most people. Understanding the absolute reality and the uh, relative reality, those are the things where a scientist and yourself may differ. That's where you and a religious person will also differ, but you will find agreement in the other aspects of it. The purpose of this lesson is to impress upon the mind of our student the fact that to all intents and purposes, the universe and its laws and its phenomena are just as real so far as man is concerned, as they would be under the hypothesis of materialism and energism. Under any hypothesis, the universe in its outer aspects is changing or ever flowing and transitory, and therefore devoid of substantiality and reality, because it's always changing. Change is a constant of the universe, right? But but note the other pole of the truth. Under the same hypothesis, we are compelled to act and live as if the fleeting things were real and substantial. With this difference always between the various hypotheses, that under the old views of mental power, okay, that under the old views, mental power was ignored as natural force, while under mentalism, it is the greatest natural force. And this one difference revolutionizes life to those who understand the principle as and its resulting laws and practices. So we have to keep those in mind. It's going to explain that more in this next paragraph. So let's get through the next paragraph and then it'll all come together. So finally, students, all grasp the advantage of mentalism and learn to know, use, and apply the laws resulting therefrom. But do not yield to the temptation which, as the Kybalion states, overcomes the half-wise and which causes them to be hypothesized by the apparent unreality of things. The consequences being that they wander about like dream people dwelling in a world of dreams, ignoring the practical work and life of man, and the end being that they are broken against the rocks and torn asunder by the elements by reasons of their folly. Rather follow the example of the wise, which the same authority states use law against law, the higher against the lower, and by the art of alchemy transmute that which is undesirable to that which is worthy, and thus triumph. Basically, it's faith versus work, believing versus knowing. Most people are taught to believe that they are, as this book says, they are broken against the rocks and torn asunder by the elements by reasons of their folly. That the religion teaches you that you are not worthy, that you are sinful, that you can't do nothing without that divinity, right? That's what religion teaches you. Whereas the alchemy, in hermetic alchemy, it is the teaching that if you understand how the laws of the universe works, you can use higher laws against lower laws, and you can manifest and change any aspect of your life. This book is called the Kybalion. Right? So I was thinking about that on my way over here. Well, I was thinking about something similar to that on my way over here, about how a person who just goes on faith hardly ever ends up in the negative on the lower vibrational scale of everything. Show me a person who just goes by faith. And I'm not talking about a person who has faith and then they go do some work. I got faith that I'm gonna grow my business. So let me go and do the marketing. Let me find out. Let me go do some networking. Let me go get some contracts. Let me go get some customers. Let me find efficient ways of running my business. Not that person. I'm talking about the person who opens up a storefront and sit there. I got faith that everything's gonna work out. And they just sit there and they just wait for people to walk in the door. No marketing, no media, no networking. They just sit there and expect things to just happen. That fool gonna be out of business. That one is definitely gonna be out of business. So that's understanding what your mental. When it was talking about mental powers in the previous paragraph, um, that's understanding that the law of mentalism works phenomenal under these natural laws, and we have to be able to utilize them. That's the whole point: is utilizing your mental powers to control your existence in this mental creation of the all within the laws, the universal laws that you are subject to. Let's finish this chapter. Following the authority, let us avoid the half wisdom, which is folly, which ignores the truth that mastery consists not in abnormal dreams, vision, and fantastic imaginings or livings, but in using the higher forces against the lower forces. So don't, oh, I didn't learn hermetics. I want to play in the NBA. I'm 51 with bad knees, and I'm finna go play in the NBA. How the hell you not? You still exist in the laws of the universe. These bad knees ain't going nowhere. Let's see. I mean, is it possible? But I believe. Wait a minute, y'all been writing some stuff over here. Oh, Jeremy's here. I remember said that. I remember said that. Nothing is as it seemed, in my opinion. I mean, it's possible, but I believe the one that is most valuable and appreciative is the one who believes that that work is action seed and will grow with love and action. Yeah, and I would agree with you, Jay. You got to put some action behind it. No action, ain't nothing gonna happen. Um, you got to put the work in. If you don't plant a seed, you can't get any harvest. But you got to plant it, you got to nurture it, you got to water it, you got to take care of it. You got to do a whole lot of stuff to make sure you receive what you're looking to receive. What time is it? Oh shit, it's after 12. But let's get this chapter at least done. Where was I? Mastery is high force against the lower force. Escaping the pains and of the lower planes by vibrating on the higher. Remember always, students, that transmutation, not presumptuous denial, is the weapon of the master. The above quotes are from the Kybalion and are worthy of being committed to memory by the student. Um, by student. But we do not live in a world of dreams, but in a universe while which relative is real so far as our lives and actions are concerned. Our business in the universe is not to deny its existence, but to live using the laws to rise from lower to higher, living on, doing the best that we can under the circumstances arising each day and living so far as possible to our biggest ideas and ideals. The true meaning of life is not known to man on this plane, if it indeed to any. Ooh, let me be like a preacher. Let me read that one more time. The true meaning of life is not known to men on this plane, if indeed to any. So when people say that they know the meaning of life, they full of shit. When they say that, um, like this is why you will always find turbulence when you have a conversation with somebody and they say, and you ask them, why did God create man? Oh, God created man because he wanted to have this loving family around him. Then God had a need. This guy had a need. He had a lack. There was a lack. No, there's absolutely no reason that for our creation. There's no reason behind it that we exist here. That's a hard pill for people to swallow. What is the reason we exist? There is none. The only reason that you exist is the one that you create for yourself. And you should be downright selfish in that creation. Why are you here? Why? I want y'all to really think about that. And I would love to hear some responses either today or tomorrow. Uh, why are you here? What is your reason for existing right now? What is your purpose for your existence? Because if your purpose for your existence is so that you can go to some heaven and worship some God for eternity, that is a low vibrational purpose. You're effectively saying your purpose is to be a slave. That's your purpose, to be a slave to some deity where you worship them 24/7 for eternity. That is nothing but a form of slavery. So what is your purpose for being here? And the thing is, the reason why I don't want to create a religion or a codex or anything is because that's your own journey, man. That's for you. That is completely for you. So let me continue and finish this chapter. But the highest authority and our own, oh, I guess I gotta read this whole sentence again in order for this to actually sound right. The true meaning of life is not known to men on this plane, if indeed to any. But the highest authority of our own intuition teaches us that we will make no mistake in living up to the best that is in us, so far as is possible, and realizing the universal tendency to do in the same direction in spite of the apparent evidence to the contrary. We are all on the path, and the road leads upward ever, with frequent resting places. Meaning, as we get into the law of correspondence, that'll make more sense. But that's what I've been saying over and over again. We are all uh, elevating to different consciousness planes of consciousness. We're all on the path, and the road leads ever over to frequent resting places. Read the message of the Kybalion and follow its example of the wise, avoiding the mistakes of the half-wise, who perished by reason of their folly. And I find that most people in religions are of the half-wise. Let me see what some of the comments and things that we got. Even though it's 12, and I think the divine paradox is heavy enough, and I don't want to start going into the all in all unless we have, I want to do this one next week, even though it's not that long. The all in all is a lot. It's heavy lifting of the brain, right? So, and plus, I like to take the time frame from 12 to whenever somebody walks in here to be able to just talk about whatever. This is where the conversation goes different from whatever the title is. I know I've missed a whole bunch of comments and questions, but we're gonna be all right. I enjoy your lives when I catch up with you. Oh, thank you, Judy. Appreciate that. We try to do Monday through Friday at 12, from 10 to somewhere between 12 and 1. And some are themed every week. Like Tuesday is while we're reading the Bible and we're breaking it down. What's wrong with the Bible is basically that one. And then Thursday we're doing the Kybalion. It's book club on Thursday. I'm in Stone Mountain, Georgia. And I'm at my cigar lounge, which is why we got to keep hitting them likes on TikTok so they don't kick me off. Eastern Central Time. Yes, Eastern Central Time. What we got? I am here to be an example of Christ consciousness. Is that through the Bible? I'm curious, Laterrence. Okay, Augusta, Georgia. How you doing, young lady? About 2.5 hours away. I'm curious as to when you say Christ consciousness, are you speaking of biblical, or Even in Buddhism, there's the idea of after you open your after you open your crown chakra, there's like two other chakras, and then there's Christ consciousness, and then there's two more chakras, and then there's the Buddha head. You know, so the Buddha head, the Buddha mind is higher than the Christ mind. It's like a whole nother level. And when we get into the law of correspondence, it's really just saying that same thing of the different levels of understanding, the level of um, wisdom you've attained, understanding of the universe, functionality within that universe, within said universe, I should say. If you're ever in Stone Mountain there, Judy, you got to come by and see me. Let's see what y'all talking about over here. We on Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube, so I try to read all of them and stay. Um, I saw that. It's possible. I can't believe that one of the most valuable and appreciative is the one who believes in. Okay, we saw that part. Our babies will grow up to honor us, and if our business is our baby, then we will be honored. Yes, sir, I agree 100%. I am here to create amazing experiences that benefit all men and women through love. Um, we with we hold the power to do so. So it's cool. You know why you're here. You determine your purpose for why you're here. On the East Coast, you're in Alaska. Man, you crazy. Cold up there. Oh yeah, it smells great in here with the cigars. This one is the Provider Club, Mr. Roboto. Well, Mr. Roboto Fumador, and yes, it smells divine. I almost moved to Alaska, y'all, a long time ago, and then I realized that I would get a state. Where I would get stationed in the Marine Corps in Alaska, and I was like, hell no, there ain't no way in hell I'm going to Alaska. And then it's cold. I found a crystal stone. I don't know a lot about crystals. Um, I understand that we have items on the planet that we use that has energy and that we use to capture our own energy and or other people's energy. I get all of that. I just don't have a need to utilize those most of the time for myself. I do have certain things in my house like an amethyst and things like that, but I'm not really knowledgeable about a lot of the stones. Uh, I am that I am, omnipresent, one multidimensional being that's having a human experience that's playing the character of Laterence and you all at the same time at once. I've heard similar statements to that one before. I'm just curious as to is that a biblical based thing? Well, no, that's not biblical based because Christian people don't teach that. Um, that's more of a metaphysical teaching, and I can understand that. Uh, and to be able to realize that a person can be omnipresent, to get to that level of consciousness, um, and I mean to do it for real, is I will easily say I'm working on becoming a higher conscious being and not elevate myself. There was a guy who came through here about 2 months ago, and he was saying something similar to that, and I was like, okay, so what's going? I asked him a question. You're omnipresent. And this is not negatively this towards you, Terrence. I was like, you're omnipresent. What's on in Russia right now? And he couldn't tell me. And I said, brother, there's nothing wrong with working towards that goal, but make sure you ensure that there's an understanding that that's something you're aiming towards, that you're working towards. And are you really working towards, or are you just saying it? You know, I hope that you're working towards that. I would love to meet somebody who could teach me how to be omnipresent. I can be omnipresent within my sphere of my physical senses, But to be omnipresent on a mental level, now that is some stuff. So yours is based on the Bible? Okay. I mean, I know it talks about your God being omnipresent. I don't recall anywhere where it says humans are, but I take most of the Bible teachings and scriptures with a grain of salt. I understand now when you raise your consciousness, you change your perspective on things. You most certainly will. To the level of elevation that I have achieved for myself, I can look back on some of the thoughts that I had as a younger man, and I was like, I can't believe I thought that way. And then I recognize I do believe that I thought that way because I wasn't vibrating at that higher level. But you will change. You will definitely change your perspective on a lot of things. Things that were important to you before, no longer would they be important. They won't be important anymore. Your perspective on the world. I had a guy who is supposed to be metaphysical, supposed to be, hermetic and all that kind of stuff. I made that video about I'm glad how the African nations are speaking towards America. You just proved yourself to be a traitor. But my consciousness is above nationalities. Nationalities mean nothing to me. Okay, so when Facebook doesn't it doesn't act right on the scroll on comment. I understand, however, it's all as a it just moved. All esoteric in the way of saying the Bible, in sayings in biblical legend. Just like God and the devil is the same. All right, now I have a greater understanding of your meaning, Terrence. You're not a hardcore Bible thumper. You are more of an esoteric Gnostic Christian, if I'm correct. And maybe I shouldn't even use the term Christian to you. That's just the way I phrase it. Stones carrying energy that can help us to heal. And I do agree with that. Certain stones do carry energy, especially earthen energies that can help you heal, just like plants can help you heal. Oh, I wonder if I can get that. All right. Alexander Braun wrote 5 laws of creation. You exist. Non-existence is impossible. I am possible. I agree. Everything is here and now, nowhere. All is happening at the same time. That everything happens at the same time. There is no such thing as how we measure time is different than time itself, but everything happening at the same time, I don't agree with. Even though in the Brothers of Mithra used to talk about how time is like a river flowing, and you can pick any part of time to exist in. I don't know. I don't know. I'm still waiting. I still need more proof of that. I haven't conceptualized that fully for myself. But as far as I'm concerned, there was a beginning of the mental creation, and there will be an end of the mental creation. It doesn't work on time how we record time, but it does have a separation of time. And I believe in reincarnation, so there has to be time involved in reincarnation. The one is all, and the all are one. The holographic nature of the universe, where the big picture remains, is the smallest part of it. If you meaning by the one is all, like me individually is all, and the all are one, we covered that, and that was last week, and that's also part of divine paradox. And next week, the all in all. In the all in all, we are not the all. We are not. We are one with the all, but we're not the all, because the all can never not know itself. The golden rule of what you put out is what you get back. One of the 8. Shit, I knew I was gonna lose it as soon as I touched it. Hell, I can't read it no more. But I don't know. You get back what you put out. I'm a little wishy-washy on that one. I understand it in its basic concept. Right. I understand it in basic concept. If we next time you want to write something long, do it in separate writings, because on Facebook it won't allow me. If I try to click on it, it moves too much. It don't work right. No. So that's why I can't read the other ones that you wrote. Um, so my lady with her crazy self, she found a potato there in the pantry and it had some sprouts out of it. So she put it in a jar, she put it in the window. The thing starts growing. It got these long leaves, and she just won't put it in the ground because she just loved watching it grow, watching these leaves coming in every day and seeing that the vine thing that grew an inch in one day. It's amazing to her. I mean, it's amazing to me too. And she won't put it in the ground. Now, if she put it in the ground, of course, she can get more potatoes, right? So the seeds you plant, you expect what you put out is what you're gonna, what seed you plant is what you're gonna get. You're gonna harvest. I get that. But that's when you're talking about lower conscious things like plants, okay. But as far as people interacting, and let me rephrase that. As far as people interacting with lower conscious things, yes, like plants and farming and things of that nature. But how many people have committed atrocity after atrocity after atrocity after atrocity? They live, die. Ain't shit happened to them. They never reap what they sowed. Ford never reaped what he sowed as far as the negative things that he did. There are Klan members who committed all kinds of atrocities. Judges lived and died. The white woman who said that Emmett Till looked at her and that got that boy killed. She lived her life and died, and she never ever was punished. And people were like that. Well, you don't know what kind of stress she was always going through. That white lady didn't care. She was having kids and grandkids. She lived her life. And her having a guilty conscience is not equal to the atrocity to which she created. That woman lived a whole goddamn life. So the law of reciprocity doesn't necessarily fit itself unless you believe in reincarnation and satisfying your dharma. And a person like that woman will come back and she will be in the most impoverished state and get beaten and abused and go through a lifetime of physical abuse or something. Do you believe we as people with the same? Do you believe we as a people with the same DNA? I mean, I have never done a real super in-depth study of DNA, but as far as my understanding, yeah, we all have similar DNA. That humans as a species have similar to the same DNA. Oh, what you thought? No, you did. No, you don't. Let's see what Jay just been writing up a whole book over here. Let me see what Jay wrote. First, I got to catch back to the last thing that I saw he wrote. I think our religion texts have. I think our religion texts have pieces of the puzzle that leads to find the answer they seek. I do think all religions do have some aspect, some piece of the puzzle, right? Um, I feel omnipresence is achieved through deep meditation. I also feel that the Bible can only be read and understood from a non-law seeking mental state. The law is the wall that blocks. Well, yeah, all those laws of the Bible that you got to do this, do that. No, the biblical laws are not any way of growing you into a higher conscious being. And you say that you are. I've heard the thing about star seeds, but I have to get more into that one. basically saying that we are seeded, we are created from aliens, right? If I understand, explain star seed to me, Chi. I do believe religion was started in Africa, but I don't. A religion is a man-made creation of trying to understand the natural world, and giving it to deity. Right. I do agree that crystals carry energy. I just don't use crystals a lot. I use some, but I have no issues with anybody who does use crystals. Okay, I have to wonder about what you're saying there, child. My DNA through the Rockefeller Hospital came back as Gilgamesh Anunnaki, and I am also Syrian star system. I mean Sirius from the star system of Sirius. All right. The only way to be able to know that you're from Gilgamesh Anunnaki is you have to have a sample of Gilgamesh Anunnaki um, DNA. In the same way, to know that you're from the star Sirius, you'd have to actually have DNA from somebody from the star Sirius. So I am skeptical of that without knowing that we have DNA from Gilgamesh and we have DNA from, my family is my father's family being Dogon talked about the beings from Sirius B who came to Earth, the Nomo. But to my knowledge, we don't have any Nomo DNA. The first letter in my DNA is G for Gilgamesh. I'd have to research that to understand it. And I do think, okay, as far as the Anunnaki being here, have been here and are here, I do think what the beings we call the Anunnaki are still here. I wish you was part of my video yesterday, the live yesterday. We talked about that's exactly what we talked about, the Anunnaki all day yesterday. You can go find that one on my YouTube channel, The Why I Left Religion with Coach Renz on YouTube. We did a live on that one yesterday about the Anunnaki. And I say that not out of rudeness, it's just I don't want to go and re-explain and go through that whole process again today because that was a video we did yesterday. The understanding of the earth is a training ground for the gods to master our emotional inner energy and emotion. I will give you that one. We are. This is like a training ground, but every conscious level that we ever will exist at is a training ground for the next higher conscious level. Evolution is a fact. How can we reincarnate? How can reincarnation be real? Prove that evolution is a fact. I've never encountered anyone, even the most avid scientists, can literally prove evolution. There's always gaps. And adaptation, yes. But evolution and reincarnation doesn't have to go one against the other because physical evolution, and consciousness are two separate things. What reincarnation is saying, and the way I look at reincarnation, okay, I'll research myself, Paul. But understand this: the way I spent time looking at evolution um, when I first walked away from all religions, right? And I understand that you, Paul, I believe you're an atheist. I don't want to say that you are without acknowledging it, but I believe you are. So I understand where your point of view. But for me, one problem that I had with being an atheist is understanding consciousness, right? The conscious energy it leaves your body when you die. When this body dies, your consciousness leaves your body. So my question was always, okay, where does the consciousness go? Right? Okay, I thought so. But I didn't want to say that you were without acknowledging first from yourself. That would be rude to be presumptuous like that. And I questioned for like years, where does the consciousness go? What happens to the consciousness? Right. And my only conclusion had to be that since energy is neither created nor destroyed, as far as our perspective from our reality, our understanding, energy is never created nor destroyed. But since energy is never created or destroyed in our matter form reality, then my consciousness must go somewhere. Now, my consciousness can't go to a lower degree of being. Can't go to a lower degree of being. Hold on, I got to open the door for Greg.
What's up? What's up?
What's up, man? How you doing?
All right, man. How about you? You a cooler one out, man? Really? Light ain't on.
Because I unplugged it.
Okay, man. When I have something to drink, I want to make sure it's cold, bro.
Yeah, no, it's cold. I just unplugged it because it's too loud for me sitting right here. Is your cronies coming?
I text.
Yeah, because they talked about you yesterday, man. They talked
What they say?
They said, man, that old Greg, he went partying last week, had him a young 20-some-year-old, and she wore him out. That's what they said.
Oh, man. 28.
Oh, she was 28? Nah, you know, that ain't what they said.
I know that.
All right. So back to what I was saying. So the reason why I say that evolution and reincarnation can work together is because the consciousness is too complex to come back as a plant or a dog or a cat or anything like that. But the consciousness has to go somewhere. This is where ideas of heaven and hell would come from. But in recognizing that, because you haven't ascended to a high enough conscious level, then you can't. Then my presupposition, my thought process was that you come back until you understand it. There are certain aspects. Good question, Paul. Where was your consciousness before you was born? My consciousness before I was born was in another person's consciousness. Was another consciousness that existed as another person at a previous time frame, right? And then another previous person and another previous person, another previous person. Now, the question would be, where did my consciousness originate? That would be the unknowable question to a certain degree. Now, as we've just been going through the Kybalion, your consciousness originates as a manifestation of the thought of the all. Now, I know that's not going to sit with you, Paul, because being an atheist, there is no intelligent design. There's no infinite intelligent mind. But for a person like myself who looking at the evidence of everything that we see, I say that there is an intelligent mind at work, except it is not working to the point where it's Geppettoing your lives and sending Jesus and judges and Allahs and, you know, balls and Muhammad's and all this kind of thing. We are self-determining. We are self-elevating. So your consciousness was created when they all created the matter form universe. When it came into existence as a human, I don't know. What was it doing before that? I don't know. And if anybody says they do, they just making some shit up. Thank you. I love my unk too. I got it at an African store here in Atlanta. JD, Curtis, how y'all doing? The secret knowledge is that we all together are in fact God, and we are waking up to the loving of all the surroundings of us and lead us to residing in a state of love in the moment. That sounds nice, but I don't necessarily agree with that fully. This is where next Thursday, when we get into the all in all, the all is all, but we are not the all. So the part where you're saying that we all are together in fact God, no. We are a part of its mental creation, but we can never be the all. No matter how many of our consciousness comes together, it would never be more than its creator. We can never be outside. We're always reading today. Nothing that we can never do or be anything outside of the all, and there is nothing outside of the all that can harm us. And you were talking about how we can rest in that comfort of knowing that is because if there is nothing outside of the all, then the all cannot be affected. If we all were the all, then we would know that we are the all. We're going to talk about this next week in the all in all, but this torch would know that it is the all. If it was the all, it can never not know it was the all, because then if it didn't know that it was the all, then it would not be, because the all can never not know itself or be separated from itself or less than itself. So this lighter is not the all. If all of us were the all, then we would always know that we are the all. We would have come into consciousness knowing that we are the all, and we would walk in that wisdom of being the all. But since we all come into consciousness not knowing that we are the all, not knowing that we can manipulate time and matter and electron energy, we are not the all. We are merely constructs inside of the mental projection of the all. But we, being more complex conscious beings, have the ability to ascend to higher planes of existence, but we will never get to the level of the all. So if the all is sitting on the 27th floor, the farthest we can get is the 26th floor. We'll never be on that 27th floor. So I have to disagree in that aspect of it. And if you really want to talk about reincarnation, there was a live that we did about 2, 3, 4 weeks ago where we talked about the Tibetan Book of the Dead on my YouTube. That video really gets deeper into the process to which reincarnation possibly happens. I mean, it is the way that I accept that reincarnation happens, just not exactly how the Book of the Dead talks about it, but in concept, how the Tibetan Book of the Dead, not the Hermetic Book of the Dead, but the Tibetan Book of the Dead, how it describes the process of samsara is one of the best descriptions. Now, is it going to be exactly that? If your consciousness believes that it's going to be exactly that, then guess what you're going to believe? That, to me, and everything that I understand, that's what you will experience. And see, thank you, Joel. Thank you, JD. Appreciate that. Margaret said, we all wanted to have experiences, so creation began. We are learning to create and manipulate energy. We are learning to create and manipulate energy. But I don't think we would create it of ourselves for our own purposes. Well, let me not say it that way. I don't think we would create it. No. We create it of ourselves for our own purposes. But once created, we determine our purpose of this creation. John chapter 13, ye are gods, not the all, but a God. And I understand that in this concept that we are the most conscious, complex conscious beings on this planet. So we think that it can be the equivalent of a God, the low G. I got you. And I think that's one of the sayings that there are many sayings that the Bible says that most people don't truly fully understand what it was saying. Like when he said, is it not written that ye are gods? That you have a higher consciousness, that you can elevate to a higher consciousness. But I think they also miss when it says that Jesus was saying that there will be others who will come after me and do greater things than me. That means Jesus ain't God, right? Because how can you do greater things than the God? Dinosaurs evolved into chicken. Paul, since you said that, the next time I see somebody eat some chicken, I'm like, man, you eating prehistoric, new age dinosaurs, right?
T-Rex tastes good over there.
Oh, you eating some T-Rex?
Yeah.
And he said, where do you see signs of a creator? Just in the manifestation of the universe within itself and the higher planes of existence that does exist. When I look at the consciousness, ants have consciousness, plants have consciousness. All things on the planet has a level of consciousness to it. And in some of my most deep meditations, I've experienced those consciousness. And that is only more recently. But I had this thought process long before then. But all these things have a level of consciousness, and they are and is incredibly complex. And we rise to higher complexities as we get to ourselves, from the rock to the ant to the dolphin to the human. And we can dream and exist and create and manifest realities in our dreams or in our mind. We can create worlds, universes that don't exist. Right? They don't exist to the outside of me, but they exist within me, within my mind. So this universe, what we see is an existence of a dream or an illusion or the concept that another intelligent mind created. And everything functions in unison with one another. Now, for the hardcore atheist, can you ever prove that the all exists? Can you ever prove in our matter existence that the all that exists outside the matter existence exists? No, you never will. You never will. This is just where, if I look at the circumstantial evidence of all things, including evolution, and I come up with that as my own personal agreed upon rationale. It doesn't, and the thing about it for me, nobody else has to agree. No one else has to agree. Which is why I never really get into heavy arguments about it, because at the end of the day, everybody will have their own points and thoughts and settle them within themselves at that point. Because there are certain things you can't answer. Because even the atheist can't answer, where do we come from? The job of science is to always question things and to dig deeper into the truth of things. This is why theories are there. But even the scientist gets to a point of leaping, where the theory of the Big Bang and the singularity, the reoccurrence of the singularity, the outpouring, the withdrawing back in, which actually fits the hermetic principles. Science and hermeticism is not in disagreement on most things, but no one will ever be able to prove this that our universe developed out of the singularity, because nobody was here, and we have no ways of measuring that yet. One day we may be able to measure. We know that the universe is expanding, and that I believe it's slowing down. The expansion is slowing down. I don't know if it's speeding. I don't think it's still speeding up. I think it's slowing down. But there's only so much science is going to know as far as that. So even for them, even for the scientists, there is the unknown. The absolute manifestation of all life, however, a living human being has the potential to become aware of its own self, but also the self is part of the whole of existence of this. I can't read the rest of it. Science is pretty much unknown magic, or vice versa. All right, I did like when Thor said that what you call magic is merely science you don't understand. And it is. It is. They told our ancestors when they healed them through mental transmutation and through the use of plants or stones, they called it witchcraft. Because the Europeans don't understand it. They call it that today. People of all colors. They'll call it that today. You have somebody chanting over you, and chanting and stuff, and giving you some herbs and all that. And if it's from like an Ifa priest or priestess, it's witchcraft. But then they'll sit over somebody in the hospital and pray over them and give them modern medicines, and it's of God. It's the same thing. It's the same thing, except one is way more natural than the other, but it's the same thing. Oh, you didn't realize Thor said that? Yeah, that was in, I don't know if that was in the first or the second Thor movie, but it was in one of the first or the second Thor movies where he said that. Or it might have been in the first Avenger one, but I think it was one of those. Right. There was a time when we didn't know where the sun went at night. Exactly. And then we learned. But check this out, Paul. Even to this day, we argue about it. We argue about it because somebody back in, I forgot when they started with the flat earth thing. But, there was flat earth, then there was a sphere earth, and then now we back to some people with the flat earth thing going. So they still debating over what happens with the sun. And people used to think the Greeks and Romans thought that the sun was being pulled by Apollo on his chariot with his horses. The Kemetic believed that Ra had to fight, what is it, Amphis? It started with an A, like Amphis, some snake-like dragon deity that wants to take the world back into darkness, kind of like the Dark Elves in Thor 3 at the Convergence. Yes, I'm a Marvel nut, and the priest said that I have magic that can make the sun come back the next day. Then we realized that the earth just revolves around the sun and the earth spins. And you still have people arguing about that to this day. Matter of fact, we had a flat earther on here like 2 days ago with that. In the gods of Egypt, it shows the flat earth seem pretty accurate, I say. So you're a flat earther, Joel? There were people who thought that the earth was sitting on the back of a turtle. They believed that Atlas was holding the earth up. Yeah. See? So, Paul, are you a flat earther, Paul? Because you and Joel will disagree on flat earth and spherical earth. Personally, I'm a spherical earth person myself. Alexander is a flat earther. And I try not to get into the flat earth debates because, I forgot who Greg, do you remember who said that? What tribe thought that the earth was on the back of a turtle? Was it one of the Native American tribes or one of the Pacific Island tribes?
I can't be sure, man. I've heard it before, but I can't be sure where it originated.
Yeah, I can't remember either where that originated from. But man has always had his description of what they thought the earth was and where it was located and how it moves. If you want to be at the end of the day, to me, the whole spherical earth and flat earth debate is kind of useless. Like, what's the point of it? But we should go back to the calendar behind the turtle's back. But we should go off the calendar behind the turtle's back. That sounds funny. I don't know if you meant that as a joke, but it sounded like one to me. Debbie says she doesn't think the earth is flat. But this is my thing about the flat earth, spherical earth thing. What big impact would that really have if we found out either was right? What does it matter? Oh, you saying that calendar was 13 months and 28 days? Yeah, our calendars went through many different changes. Personally, I like to go with the lunar calendar. I think the lunar calendar would be great. And I think the lunar calendar does give you about, it's around 13, it's 13 months and something. So that might be the same calendar. But what would the big, like if they came out and proved that the earth was flat, what does that change? Like, what does that really change in our existence? I think the only thing that will be, oh, it's based on the turtle's back that it got 28 spots and 13 rows. Okay. Michael said, are the sun and the moon flat? I think in the flat earth theory, only the earth is flat.
Interesting.
By the Native American tribes for this lunar calendar because it has the 28 sections and 13 months. Okay.
Hey, turtle was part of Hindu and Chinese mythology.
So the earth being on the back of a turtle was part of Chinese and Hindu mythology.
And indigenous American.
And indigenous American. Old Greg back there. See, Greg keep on saying that he's gonna come here early and be a part of a certain discussion, but he ain't got here early so we can have that certain discussion. And actually, TikTok, the reason why y'all have to do them like is because Greg is one of the ones got me banned on TikTok from doing live until the 23rd of this month. Yeah, so I can go back and do live on the Cigar Channel now. I'm off the ban that you and Ghost created. Neil deGrasse Tyson, I don't think he's a flat earther though. He's not a flat earther. But no, I think the only significance, this is the only thing that would be significant that is within the flat earth and some of the Christian flat earthers concept that would make a difference in our lives is the whole idea of the impenetrable dome. If the impenetrable dome was proven, that would make a difference in one of two ways. Either we're going to freak out or we're going to realize that we got to get our shit together because we can't escape this planet. But that would be the only thing that would make a difference to me. That if it was proven that there was this impenetrable dome, I am already somewhat of a naturalist. Like, I was watching this show last night and they were talking about, it was about electric cars and electric vehicles. And we got to cut back on our carbon footprint on stuff and things like that. And the whole time I'm looking at it, I'm like, the car industry is has nowhere near the impact that the meat industry has. Right? So if I found out that we were in if we went up and there's an impenetrable dome, then we need to take better care of the earth. You would think flat earthers who believe that there's what did Joel say, the firmament is a trapped jailhouse. The flat earthers who believe that should be the biggest. Stop cutting down the trees, stop eating meat, stop destroying the seas. Because I'm telling you, if you ain't seen Cowspiracy or Seaspiracy, and yes, Angie, you're gonna watch Cowspiracy today. But if you ain't seen those, they should be the biggest proponents of not eating flesh, period. Not eating flesh, period. To save what we have because we are in an impenetrable dome and we will never be able to escape. Yeah, I agree. See, Paul, we said we're not going to get into a flat earth discussion because if the world was flat, there wouldn't be no life. I would agree. The world doesn't function like it's flat, but the so-called primitive culture depicted the earth as flat and stationary. Right. I mean, if all you have is your ability, you got to think about it. If you are utilizing your senses to determine the layout of the earth, you would say it's flat. because everything I look at is pretty much flat. Got some mountains. You know, you go out to the ocean, it looks flat. It looks like the horizon looks flat. You know, if you're standing on land, it looks pretty flat. Now, if you're looking through some binos and you're on the middle of the ocean and some high, and wide panoramic, you can see a curvature. When I was on the Navy ship, I could see that. Um, there are a lot of theories of stuff out there, but I'm just wondering, Joel, are you vegan or vegetarian at least? Are you vegetarian, Joel? I'm gonna tell you right now, as far as I'm concerned, I don't know how you're gonna answer it. Now, let me let you answer, Joel. Are you vegetarian? You try your hardest. No, I don't want to hear no try. Let me tell you something, Joel. We don't do try on this channel. We either do or we do not. We do or we do not. We don't try. Try as the element of doubt in your life. So we cannot try anything. We have to do or do not. We either accomplish it or we don't. The moment you try, you allow doubt to intercede. And the moment doubt gets in there, whatever you want, whatever you're looking to establish or accomplish is gone. So get that try out of your vocabulary, Joe. Be a vegetarian, all out, 100%. That's why I tell people all the time, I am not 100% vegetarian. I'm not. I don't want to be 100% vegetarian. When I want a good burger, I'm gonna get me a good ass burger. Simple as that. Like I had a good slutty vegan burger. Well, slutty vegan is vegan, so whatever. But I had a good slutty vegan burger yesterday, but I also had a good regular burger yesterday too, because I love burgers. You know. But anyway, that's the point. I understand. You agree with me? Good. I don't want to hear no try anymore, Joel. We don't do try in this camp. I like steak and shrimp. But okay, I'm glad that you're trying your hardest. Well, I hear hardest trying, but I don't want you to try. You're gonna do it now, because to me it doesn't make sense to be a flat earther and not be a environmentalist. Because if you're a flat earther, you're logical. Joel, I know I keep on saying Joel because I know a dude named Joel, and he's throwing me off. Um, it doesn't make sense to be a flat earther and not be an environmentalist, because then your mindset has to be this is all we got. That there's no possibility of what was it? They said I saw something where they were saying they found a new Earth, but it's like 420 million light years away or something like that. We ain't getting there. Our best option for the way we're treating this planet is to terraform Mars. Is to terraform Mars. But if the flat earthers are right, we ain't gonna get to Mars because we got the impenetrable dome. But if we got the impenetrable dome and we break it, and it's supposed to be water up there, wouldn't that flood the Earth? Or wouldn't that allow for our atmosphere to escape? So even if we penetrated the dome, we still couldn't go and terraform Mars, and so we all dead anyway. I don't know. Just there's some problems there that I don't like. But I think that at some point, I don't agree with flat Earth, but I think at some point we have to terraform either. Well, I don't think we can terraform the moon, but we're gonna have to terraform Mars. Terraform the deserts. You know, I think it's 26,000 years, the Sahara becomes green, and it rotates. It's a rotation of that. Look at it this way: apes have bigger teeth and can hunt an animal down and eat it, but they don't go up to the tree and eat. But they don't go up to a tree and eat. They are faster and stronger than we are. I don't get it. Apes have bigger teeth and can hunt an animal down and eat it. Okay, but they don't go up to a tree and eat. Yeah, I'm not understanding. Maybe somebody else understand that one. No, the Sahara is not the only desert. I don't know. I've never seen anything that said about the other deserts going green and back and forth, green and desert, green and desert. Oh, but they go up to a tree and eat fruit. This is true, but no, there are some gorillas. No, those are chimpanzees and baboons that will also eat meat and they eat meat and eat the eat vegetables, vegetarian, eat leaves and shit. But that really ain't got nothing to do with the fact that our meat consumption is so high that we are deforestation and cattle. We have too many cattle, too much cattle. Um, the other animals that do eat meat on the planet, they keep a natural balance. We don't keep a natural balance. That was actually a conversation we had here in the lounge, how we are out of balance with Earth. We are the only animal on this planet that lives out of balance with nature. Hell, the fact that I live in Georgia is out of balance with nature. We should not be living in Georgia. It gets too cold. At the coldest time frames of Georgia, if you leave a baby outside butt naked, or you are outside butt naked, you will die, freeze to death. Every animal on this planet is born in a place where it can live its entire life as it is born and not have to do anything different. We are the only ones that spread across this planet like a virus, and we consume and destroy it. I am big about that, even though I participate in some of that destruction. Yes, I do. But we got to get to Mars. The Mars territory is just past the Arctic ice. Well, and yes, our firmament. So, let me ask you a question, that Alexander. We're the only animals that are drinking another animal's milk. Yeah, that's nasty, which is why I don't drink milk. Um, so when I looked at one of those flat Earth maps, they got, North Pole, got our continents that we know about and all the land masses. Then it got the ice wall. Then it has some more land masses. Then it have another ice wall. I think it has another ice wall and then some more land masses. I believe that's the one that I've seen the most. Right. So I'm just curious. I've never heard a flat earther say anything about this. Are there other beings living on those other land masses outside that ice wall and others on the other side of that ice wall? And if so, how you know? Mars is just a sun to another land. The equator. Well, see, scientists have shown that the equatorial temperature of Mars is 90 degrees. That's not producing enough heat to be a sun. Meat and milk prevent humans from going extinct. Mm, we can live off the vegetables, man. We can live off the vegetables. So you're saying, so you are a flat earther and you agree with the Anunnaki? I've never met a flat earther and an Anunnaki person. That's interesting because the Anunnaki are supposedly came from another planet. So how did they penetrate the dome? And how can they be extraterrestrial if they didn't penetrate the dome? They've always been here. How can they be extraterrestrial but have been terrestrial? Michael says Mars will be flat once we get there. Anthony says, are the other planets flat? So the Anunnaki came down to Earth when it didn't have a dome, and then they created the dome. But I'm guessing they know how to get through if you're a biblical person who believes in the flat Earth and the firmament, there are portals or windows in that dome, and I guess they know which window to go through and how to open it. That would be the only way that would make sense. Is they would have to have that ability, that knowledge, if they created it. But I don't agree with the whole flat Earth thing, because how is Voyager sending us pictures of Neptune and Uranus, of Saturn, the Voyager satellite that we sent out there is sending us those things. It's actually verifying, and I talked about this in the Anunnaki video. Voyager is actually verifying things that the Sumerians said the Anunnaki told them. CGI. And I'm gonna disagree with CGI. I'm gonna disagree with that wholeheartedly. Only because I've seen some things that most people aren't privy to, due to the time frame that I was in the Marine Corps and the job that I had. So I'm gonna disagree with that CGI. Now that was part of the conversation yesterday. The Anunnaki could be ancient advanced beings that were already here, and through the different, what do we call them? The different ELEs, the different extinction level events that occurred on the planet through hundreds of thousands of millions of years, that societies, the Earth society has advanced. ELE hit, we go back down, and then we advance. ELE hits, and we go back down. The comedic viewpoint of this was we go from a iron age to a copper age to a silver age to a gold age, and then go back down and start over, and then go back up and down. The comedic viewpoint of civilization was that as well. The Emerald Tablets talks about an ELE event happening, and then Thoth comes and restarts society here in Kemet, and then sends his people out to restart societies in Mesoamerica, Indus Valley, China, all these other regions. So I'm going to send you a Gnostic guy break down the flat Earth. Okay, send it. That'd be cool. Like I said, as we was reading this chapter of the Kybalion, what did it say? It says that the unwise only looks at the half truth, but the wise looks at both sides of the pole. And you have to look at both sides of the pole in order to understand. But you have to look at it with an empty cup. It didn't say you have to look at it with an empty cup. I'm saying you have to look at it with an empty cup. Because if you already have a predetermined landing point, and it doesn't really matter to go research anything, because your research is only going to you're only going into that research to determine how you're going to debunk that research. You have to say, like Joel said, I'm just so open-minded. You just have to be an open mind. You have to pour out your cup, and then see, does it make sense? Are there enough facts or enough information that I can come to this understanding, and what understanding I'm going to come to? Because I've looked at things with that open mind, but my understanding usually come with, this part makes sense and works. There's enough evidence, but this part, not so much. Yeah, and Joel, some people are asking on Facebook, YouTube, are the other planets flat? Are the moon and the sun flat? And I don't know. I've never listened to a flat Earth video where they talked about that. So I'm asking in earnest. If you can get a person to believe in Jesus, you probably can get a person to believe in anything. Yeah. It would be interesting to see, you go to a place where they've never grew up around any religion whatsoever. And understand what I'm saying, around any religion. So, it's not going to be any place in America or any of the Western civilized places, and teach these people and tell them about Jesus, and they accept it. Because when those folks start going to, what is it, Robin Island, I think, and try to tell them people about Jesus, They killed them. I mean, they're like, we ain't going for that. All the planets, suns, and moons is all a flat, non-rotating plane. All the planets are suns and moons. So they're round. Get it airplane. What, get in the airplane? You got to explain more than just getting the airplane. So you're saying that all the other planets and things are spheres, but the Earth is the only thing that's flat. Oh, it's Sentinel Island? Is that the one that's like in the Indian Ocean somewhere? What's the one that's in the Indian Ocean where that little missionary thought he was going to go there and do something? And they killed his ass? Okay. Anthony said, if those planets are around, then so is the Earth. That ain't exactly how he said, but I don't want to get demonetized. Nah, it ain't about demonetization. Um, Look, there was let me tell you this thing that happened. And if you study military history, and especially during World War II in the South Pacific, you hopefully will come across this. Um, I forgot what the island was, but it's one of our islands. Shit, it's one of our island territories that most people don't know. We have like 14 different U.S. territories, but one of the South Pacific islands, they wanted to use it as a testing ground for the atomic bomb. They flew in. There were some people there, so they flew in, gathered up all the people, flew them to, I think, Wake Island or somewhere like that, and dropped them off. Those people had never seen airplanes before. So when they picked them up and flew them and dropped them off at another place, they took wood and stuff and they thatched up. Actually, it wasn't a video on military history. It was a video about the 14 U.S. territories. They thatched up and made airplanes. They tattooed USA on them because that was on the side of USA on that was the side of them. And they started worshiping the airplane, and they started holding poles and marching like military people. And they thought they thought that the Americans were gods, right? To the understanding of, if you can teach a person to believe in Jesus, people have this tendency to worship what they cannot explain. We know that it's just an airplane. We know they just got relocated so that they can test this atomic bomb. And I hope in that movie Oppenheimer, because I'm gonna watch that movie Oppenheimer, that they show that. They probably won't, but it would be cool if they did. But these people, they worship the airplane and they worship the USA, and they thought that was God, right? Right, and they thought that the airplanes were going to come back and take them to their home. They keep praying to them and praising them. And I say that man, don't nobody get mad at me. Take it for what as I'm saying it. What do you mean the battery's going to go out? This thing ain't plugged up. Man is the absolute most gullible creature on this planet. Dolphins don't worry about worshiping. Dolphins are very intelligent creatures, but dolphins don't worry about worshiping. They just exist, and they are connected to the earth, and they just exist, right? Our ability to reason also is our greatness, but it is also our folly, because it causes us to make up shit because we have to know. The most difficult thing for a person to do is to recognize that you're never going to know all of it. What is the old axiom? I forgot who said it, wrote it. I think it might have been Plato, Socrates, or Aristotle, one of them jokers who said that the more knowledge the more that I know, the more I realize how much I don't know. Right? The more I know, the more I don't know. The more I realize how much I don't know. And Like that's been a big part of my journey. The more I study, the more I come into knowing of things, causes me to realize just there is so much that I just don't know. And there are certain things that you're never going to know. I mean, maybe I'm being naive. But if I was president of the United States and you get all the secret information, you get to know that you know, and they came to me and they said, well, the earth is flat and there's a dome, an impenetrable dome. We haven't figured it out yet. My thing would be, well, shit, let's galvanize the human race so that we can get past the ice wall and go see these other motherfuckers. Or let's break through this dome because we ain't going to be nobody's pet, right? Like, that to me would be the thing. And I know it would cause mass hysteria. People lose their shit if they found out we was in a dome and it was impenetrable. But shit, if we all have if getting through the dome is the common goal, not being somebody's pet is the common goal, then do you know how the way the mind works? We create shit when there's a problem, when there's something that we got to fight against, right? We create. And see that whole they don't let us get past certain latitudes. If I was president, I'm like, to hell with them. Them finna get their butt whooped because nobody's gonna keep us as a pet, right? So Paul said that's why it doesn't matter what happens before the Big Bang, or because it all ends anyway. Nah, but while we here, goddamn it, we gotta live our best lives. Like it wouldn't do for me to be an atheist because I'm gonna go do everything I want to do. You know, I'm not immoral. I'm not saying that atheists are immoral or should be immoral. I'm not saying that, but why live a life of restrictions? Why even waste my time trying to raise my consciousness other than for my own selfishness? You know what I mean? Like I'm gonna build the biggest business and go, and for my mind, I'm building the biggest business so I can have the most money so that I can bust open the damn dome, you know. Or I'm building and you see this happening. I'm building the biggest business so I can have the most money so I can go to Mars. To hell with all you earthlings. You earthlings get on my nerves, you know. I understand what the Anunnaki said. They built to build a slave colony. I get that. I understand the Anunnaki story, but within the Anunnaki story, the humans revolted constantly, and throughout the Anunnaki, constantly there was constantly revolts, human revolts in the Anunnaki story. So why should there not still be a revolt against the Anunnaki? If I'm president, we finna go kick their ass. It's as simple as that. You know, I will refuse to be a slave to anybody. Hell, y'all know that's part of the reason why I'm leaving y'all in America. I'm not going to be a slave to this American society and customs and culture. Y'all can have this place. Right. Now, I know it really has nothing to do with atheism because I think the same way, even though I believe to me, there is a creative mind. I accept the all, but I accept the all not in the religious way. It ain't nothing. It's nothing to be worshipped. Like the Kybalion, as we go through this book, is constantly about. There's constant statements about not worshiping. That if the all needs to be worshipped, then it is not the all. Any deity that requires worship is not God at all. Cannot be, because then it has a lacking. But that's another thing, Joel. There are archons in a higher frequency than we are. I'm sure most people have heard of MK Ultra. But even a deeper look into MK Ultra is the CIA investigating um, psychic abilities. A lot of people don't know that CIA spent tons of money in developing psychic agents. So did Soviet Union. So did Germany and other places. They spent tons of money to develop psychics, and I would have a whole psychic army dedicated to developing those senses to fight beings on different frequencies. Like, because to me, if we're gonna do the dang thing, let's do the dang thing. Quit playing around with it. Right. So the kingdom of heaven is within. Yeah, that's your happiness, man. Let's be honest. Heaven is happiness. That's all heaven really is happiness. Heaven is not this place. It's a state of being. It's a state of happiness and joy and love and all this other stuff. We ain't gonna get. You can get some of that here, but you have the duality. You're gonna get some heaven and you're gonna get some hell, as long as you exist. But no matter what plane of existence you exist on, you're gonna get some heaven and you're gonna get some hell, because as we discussed earlier in this podcast, on every plane of existence, the law of polarity is still at work. So no matter how much heaven you get, you're gonna get some hell. Let me give you an example of in your own. Well, it's not part of Christianity, but this is part of Christianity. The whole war in heaven thing happened in the books of Enoch. And I say books because there's 5. In the books of Enoch. That is the whole telling of the war in heaven. How can you have a war in heaven unless the law of polarity is still at work? If it is heaven, then there cannot be jealousies, there cannot be war and anger and hate and all of that stuff if it's a true way Christians envision heaven, right? So it has to be. So duality works in every level of consciousness, and heaven is a level of consciousness. So there is duality.
Can't have a heaven unless you know what hell is, right?
Can't have a heaven unless you know what hell is. Go ahead, Greg. Gotta have it. So the Satan, devil, whatever you want to call him, and we're gonna do a video about that whole thing too, has to be the representation of the negative side of the opposite side of the pole. So y'all want to go to heaven, but it's still gonna be the same bullshit in heaven. Probably a second war. When the humans get there, it'll be a second war. Because y'all bringing what my man say in the movie Tombstone. Tell him I'm coming, and hell is coming with me. When you find knowledge, you should be disturbed based on the world around you and should rejoice because kingdom is at hand. Yep, that's his gospel. And actually, one of the books that we're going to, after we finish the Kybalion, we will vote on whether we do books. And the Gnostic Gospel of Thomas is one of them, where that is quoted. That sounds like the quote from the Gospel of Thomas. And the second quote, seeking you shall find. When you find, you will be disturbed. And after you are disturbed, you will marvel. And once you marvel, you will reign over all. That's what that sounds like. The West and the East during the fake Cold War was controlled by the same central banking powers, which since we have reduced the so-called collective West. Mm-hmm. And yes, you bring in hell with you, Debbie. Hey, if the Rothschild played both ends of World War I and World War II, I wouldn't doubt if the Rothschild played both ends of the Cold War, because it would make both of them. It would make both of them money. It would make them money no matter what. Right. Satan just means administrator, like a prosecutor. Right. To mean adversary. Right. Satan in Sumerian is administrator, and then the Hebrew turned it into Satan, which meant adversary. So in that whole big story of Job, it's not the devil. It's just a dude like, hey man, you see Job? Yeah, I see Job. Job pretty cool, ain't it? Yeah, all right, because you give him everything. Oh, no. That's my dog. No, you're not. You just give him everything. You want to bet? Sure. Let's bet. All right, you can go and mess up all his stuff. Just can't kill him. All right. Just can't mess with him. All right, mess up his stuff. I mean, it's a dumbass bet. But it wasn't like the adversary was walking around, ooh, I hate Job. I want to do something to Job. I'm going to mess with Job. No, he got permission from God having a bet. It's one of the reasons why I could never get down with this guy. You having a bet with an adversary that you call Satan, and you're supposed to be a God that can't be around evil, but yet the Satan is where you been? Heaven and earth, to and fro, chilling, doing what I do, just looking around. It's a stupid story.
And Job's kids had to die.
Right. Killed Job's kid. And then when Job got mad, hey, don't be getting mad at me, Job. Who made the lightning? Who made the earth? Where were you when I formed the universe? Where was you, Job? You were nowhere. Now I'm going to give you some new family and some new money. Should have gave him a new wife, but I'm going to give you some new family and some new money. And think about that. I want y'all to think about that. Does giving Job, I know what this ain't, we could do a whole nother video about this. Giving Job, we're going to do a whole nother thing about this. Giving Job a new wife, new family. I mean, new kids. Not a new wife, but new kids. How does that erase the pain of the death of his first children? It does nothing for that. And Job, if God give us, God can take it away. Man, please. I've been like, F you, Yahweh, you're a cruel bastard. And don't let me find out it was a bet. Oh, hell no. Y'all should go look up Dark Matter. Dark Matter 3 something. I forgot the whole name of Dark Matter's thing, but it's Dark Matter on YouTube. He did a video like that about Job. It was funny as shit. Had me cracking up. You should do a breakdown of the. Ooh, oh, it's glasses time. Japheth's story? Who is Japheth?
Japheth.
Yeah.
Japheth was the one that had to make a vow that he would sacrifice the first thing that came out of his house.
Oh!
When about
right. And his daughter was the first one to walk out?
Was the first one that came out of the house.
Yeah. What book is that in?
Judges.
That's in Judges? Yeah, because I doubt if in my What's Wrong with the Bible, if we get all the way to Judges, I know I ain't going past. I know I'm not going into Chronicles because I would die of boredom. I'll probably start skipping around in What's Wrong with the Bible at that point. We could do that, but as much as I love talking to y'all, it is 1:30 and I have actual things to do. This thing called work. So what's tomorrow? Tomorrow is Friday. What you doing tomorrow, man? See, watch this bullshit.
I don't know.
See, this is the bullshit. So y'all, here's the deal. Greg was in here about a week and a half ago, and he got my TikTok shut down because he went in. Him and Ghost went into this whole thing about the LGBTQ community and the Bible, right? Ain't that what y'all was talking about?
Yeah.
But Greg was very, let's say, verbally loose with the lips.
No, I was just.
He was very liberal.
Speaking the truth.
And TikTok was like, oh, that's hate speech. So he wants me to do a live where we talk about homosexuality and the Bible. But I said, okay, if you're going to do it with me, we'll do it. Greg knows it's 10 o'clock. I tell him, but he won't set a schedule to come. You know, he'll sit in the background over there. I know y'all can see him. He'll sit in the background and, make a little statement here or there. But I want him sitting right next to me. Since he got me kicked off of TikTok for a minute on it. But there was another channel. So as soon as we get Greg to do it with me, we got it. But I asked him where he's gonna be tomorrow. He ain't gonna be here tomorrow. Well, he don't know, so I can't go off of I don't know. So I had a subject matter for tomorrow, but I can't remember it right now. Angie, I know I told you what it was. We talked about it, and you probably don't remember either right now. Angie's my moderator. But we're gonna talk about whatever it is. This one fly, I swear to Bob, I'm gonna kill this little bastard. Even though I understand there's a purpose for flies on this planet, his purpose is not to bother me. You need to go and be about his purpose. Stop bothering
a life, man. That's probably a reincarnation of somebody.
I am not Janice. I don't believe in Jainism, so I can kill a fly. And I believe that the complexity of a person is too great to be embodied in a fly. So I'm not killing somebody who used to be here. Or maybe if I kill them, that's just their dharma, being satisfied. How about that? See, Craig trying to give me that bullshit, y'all. I ain't going for Greg's bullshit. Not today. We're gonna have some bullshit conversation after this, but not right now. Also, I gotta order some lunch. I'm hungry. No, I got lunch. I brought lunch. I'm hungry. Um, so anyway, so tomorrow I don't know what the conversation is going to be about, but it's Friday, so it'll be a free flowing conversation, definitely. But I will have something that we initially will discuss. Um, I don't know what yet. I don't know. I have some ideas, but we'll see. But I appreciate everybody's on here. Those who gave stars and supported the channel financially on TikTok. I mean, not TikTok, on Facebook and YouTube. I greatly appreciate it. Um, it's a cool thing. I do have a Patreon. I don't post extra videos and stuff like that on Patreon because I'm not trying to push for financial gain, so to speak. The financial gain that I get is just the financial gain I get. Simple as that for me. But do like and share the videos on YouTube and Facebook because that does increase the financial gain, and an increase in financial gain on the social media would allow for me to be able to do this full time and to do more research and to do more videos and do more intricate videos and that sort of thing, because that is my purpose for right now in my life. My life purpose changes as I change. So my purpose is to get to a point where this is pretty much all I do. I'll still have a cigar lounge and other businesses, but this will be a major part of it. Um, but this will help me to get my time back because I have to spend 10, 12 hours a day inside this lounge running it for right now. But so please share the hell out the video, especially the videos on Facebook that are not lives. The videos, okay, listen to me, Facebook. The videos that are not lives, see, lives cannot be monetized on Facebook yet, at least as far as mine. But the videos that are not lives, share the hell out of those because that helps in the monetization of the channel, which then will afford me the ability to not have to be here, which will then give me the ability to make more videos, to do more lives, and to do more research. So let's get with it, Facebook, because Facebook pays better than YouTube. But YouTube, I still need y'all. Now, y'all can share everything, and that helps in the monetization of it. So share it. Share it. Stop coughing on my video, man. Just because I ain't got the door open and all the smoke is staying in here. But share it.
That firmament is keeping on smoking.
And TikTok, I don't even bother with monetization because TikTok monetization sucks. You could do have 1 million views on a video and you get like $3. That's bullshit for the way TikTok does monetization. That's why for a while I stopped doing lives on TikTok. I was trying to force y'all to go over to YouTube and Facebook because I prefer y'all to be on YouTube and Facebook. YouTube for lives, Facebook for regular videos. But anyway, as a comedian say, that's my time. Y'all been great. I'm out of here. So y'all be good. Remember, you got to free yourself to be yourself because your greatness is non-negotiable. Good journey, good vibrations, and I will see y'all tomorrow. Tomorrow, I love you. Tomorrow is only a day away. And I can't sing, but I don't care. I can't sing, but I don't care. I'm hitting buttons and hit that button. And people think I'm always serious, and they will be lying to themselves if they thought that.